Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the All Balls Sports Show. Brought to you in part by Truelove's Pizza and Grits at 1144 Riverside Drive. A discussion of any and all sports, local, regional, and national. And now, here are your hosts, Dan Janes, Eddie Bobo, Ty Cobb, and the coach, Vance Ballou.
And a very pleasant good evening. Thank you, Bill Jones. Welcome into All the Ball Sports Show for this Thursday evening. What is today? I know it's Thursday, but 11th. Okay. 10-11. So it's 10-11.
The 1 month.
Okay. Thank you very much. Truelove's is our sponsor. Pizza and Grits, 388-7770, located at 1144 Riverside Drive here in Columbia. Open Thursday, 11 till 8, Friday and Saturday, 11 till 9, and they're closed Sunday through Wednesday. Everything is back on the menu at Truelove's, including grits, including chicken and grits, and world famous grits. They're just awesome grits.
And them good old wangs.
And wangs. Wangs and things.
Yeah.
That's what they have. Hey, did you take a vacation to Cancun?
Not recently, no.
Chip, did you take one?
I took one to 1042 Rolling Fields.
And wait a minute, Coach Vance Ballou's back. Did you take a trip to Cancun?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I've lost your microphone. Check to make sure she's turned on.
Up toward you.
There you go.
There you are.
That's it. Much better.
Yes, I went to Cancun during the fall break. Paul and I.
And here you are, relaxed, tanned, ready to go.
Yeah, it was a fun way to spend the week, that's for sure. In the pool, got a little sunburn, but through the water, which I was not expecting that.
Oh, yeah. It just reflects the sun even more. So
It got the job done.
And where you were closer to the equator.
That's
Yep.
true.
So,
Yep.
You got more of the sunshine than anybody.
Yep. First time I've been out of the country other than going to Canada when I was young kid.
Well, from someone who's been to Cancun several times, I know you thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh,
So.
I did. It was a great time.
I've yet to do one of them all-inclusives, though. I'm usually on the go when I hit the ground down there. I'm going everywhere.
And usually in the back of a Federale car.
Shh, don't tell me. I have been stopped by some Federales.
Was it scary?
It wasn't nice. And then I was on a bus from Playa del Carmen to Merida, Mexico, and we were riding along there, and all of a sudden, here come a military Jeep with a guy standing up in the back with a .50 caliber machine gun attached, and they pulled right in front of the bus. Then there was two truckloads of troops that was beside the bus, and behind the bus was another Jeep with a .50 caliber. And they kind of eased the bus over to the side of the road, and some of them got out with their Uzis and were walking up and down the aisleways of the bus,
Looking for...
I was just hoping it wasn't me. Evidently, they got satisfied that whoever they were looking for was not on the bus, and we were able to continue on our trip and get to our destination.
Cool.
But, it's kind of a funny feeling,
I bet it is.
Yeah.
Breaking news we got last week from Jason Hoth that the Backyard Bowl will be the first game of the season.
Yep, sure will. Which we had that at one time. You might remember. I can't remember what years it was now, but I think for 4 years in a row it was week one. I know it was
Week 0.
Yeah, the old week
Yeah.
0. Yeah, which I think now that was like 05 through 08, something in there.
It was when Will played.
Okay. Yeah.
So the Backyard Bowl comes back to Lindsey Nelson Stadium next year,
yes.
and it will be the Daytona 500 of football,
Yeah.
where the big game is
It's always
played.
good that it be the opening game because
Well, then you get
Both
all
teams
that. You
were
get all
0
that
and
stuff
0,
out of the
you
way.
get everything.
You get all that
and,
done.
and next year also we're going to have 7 district or region games. I
7
should say.
region games, which
know,
really screws the
since
schedule
they
up.
since they added
it
another
does.
school to our region, so that
Which
didn't
will
leave.
be Rockvale.
Rockvale from Rutherford County,
Mhm.
Right.
coming in. So
Or
Now,
they
back
like-
during my dinosaur days,
They like the Rockets. That's what the elementary school was.
I think they are.
I think they are.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, back during my dinosaur days of driving back and forth on Highway 99 to Murfreesboro, I'd go by Rockvale Elementary every morning. Little bitty school. And now that place up there is just,
It had a rocket.
oh, yeah, they did.
yeah,
Yeah,
right out there in
they
the
did.
front lawn.
Yeah.
that other community, what is that? It's just south of Rockvale on Shelbyville Highway.
Oh, you talking about
It's grown too.
Chapel Hill or
No.
It's right out of Murfreesboro on
Right.
the way to Shelbyville.
Oh, I
Okay.
can't.
I want to say community, but that's not right.
No, community is in Unionville.
Yeah.
I cannot remember.
It's
Eagle?
grown. What?
Eagleville?
No.
No.
No. That's on
No.
99.
This
That's not on
is
230.
right
This
next
is
to
on
Murfreesboro.
231. Yeah. This is right off 231.
But anyway, it's got a new school, and I think a plan for a new high school there.
wow.
So it's just growing.
Yeah, and they're starting out their student population at 1,600 for high school.
Yeah.
And
That is
that's
crazy.
impressive.
It is. It sure is.
You know, and you've got to start building your school for at least 1,600, and then possibly you're looking at 2,000.
Yeah.
Then maybe they'll only be in our region
Well,
for
that
1
may be
year.
the reason they're going to be building another school on
Probably
that
so.
other
Could
part,
be.
so they
I
can
bet you they're
alleviate
building
some of that.
out, Be about 2,000.
Yeah.
Somewhere along
Yeah.
there. Probably.
All right, good. deal.
Back to the Spring Hill game, I really think that's the best time to play is week 1. So you can kind of emphasize it a little bit, and you know, it's a big game and a lot of community support, and the crowd will probably be larger week 1
Right.
overall. But it allows the two programs, once the game is over, to go back and focus on
Nerd
you
stuff.
know, more
right.
specific things like winning the district, getting in the playoffs, and all those things, which, you know, week 4, 5, 6, or whatever, that can be a bit of a distraction sometimes.
Well, all right. Let's move on while we've got Coach back to Alabama football.
Ooh. It's a good time to talk about that.
Is there a team at this time in the season that's going to be able to trip them up
Alabama.
as strong as they are?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Right now, I don't think so. But if you're not an Alabama fan, you wouldn't know this, but they don't have the depth defensively.
No.
You know, they suffered there a little bit last year, especially once they got some injuries, and they lost a starter last week in the secondary, which is an all-new secondary. So, you know, and they had Arkansas scored 31 on them, I believe it was. So there's some potential problems there. But I do think this is quite likely the best offense Alabama's ever had, even going back to the wishbone days and all that stuff.
Well, Tua, who I will not attempt his last name because I still haven't got it yet, supposedly has a sprained knee. And in Saban's post-practice, this is according to Cecil Hurt, which is with CBSSports.com. Saban's post-practice said, Tua, of course he calls him by his first name too, because he doesn't attempt his last name, has taken every rep in practice. He does have a sprained knee, but he's been able to do the work, so it's not an issue.
Yeah.
So says Saban.
Yep. That, and I guess that's probably the facts. I mean, I don't know any benefit he would get, anything otherwise. You know, Jalen Hurts has been really effective this
Yeah.
year. He's
Yeah.
got a 70% completion rate. And
Yeah, he's more accurate on his long ball this year than he has been in the past.
And actually, his passing stats this year are better than his run stats.
And what did you say that Tua's statistics were for fourth quarter?
Fourth quarter stats, he's the worst in the country. but that's because
none.
he hasn't played in the fourth quarter.
Now, it does say this.
Are you surprised maybe that Hurts didn't take advantage of the new red shirt rule?
I don't know. It was hard to predict. I probably would have guessed that he would leave if I had to make a decision. But, his response to being benched last year during the championship game was not typical. I mean, he proved himself to be mature and able.
But how could you tell? Because his visual never changed.
That's true, but he was supportive of Tua. He was happy for him.
Well, they're roommates. They've been roommates all along, but I wasn't surprised that he didn't take advantage of it. I mean, the bottom line is all reports says that he's graduating this year, so he still has a year of eligibility left, and after his graduation, he can transfer anywhere he wants to go anyway.
Yeah.
So still gives him a chance to play a year somewhere else. So
here's little interesting factoid. Injury to Tua, whose last name shall not be pronounced, would be a big deal because as things stand at the moment, he looks like a runaway Heisman Trophy winner as he's been dominant midway through the season. He's put up an absolute clinic this season, throwing for almost as many touchdowns, 18, as he has incompletions of 25. His passing efficiency rating of 258.4 is the highest mark in the country, a full 30 points higher than Oklahoma's Kyler Murray at 227.76, who's currently second in the nation.
yeah, and Tua don't have any interceptions.
No.
Yeah, and another source the week before last had stated that he has the highest quarterback rating for that part of the season for the last 15 years. You have to go back 16 years to get somebody who's and I don't know who that is. I'd be interested to know. But
now, what would be interesting about that is right-hander versus left-hander.
Yep.
As far as the completion percentage.
Yeah, that's true.
That'd be an interesting statistic.
Yep. It's really phenomenal how much he's completed passes. I think last week was 11 of 13.
Well, he makes his reads so quick.
Yeah.
I mean, he's phenomenal. I mean, my hat's off to him, which I ain't got one on right now, by the way. But I don't remember any quarterback in the Southeastern Conference that has been this effective and this accurate and all that. And I've been watching SEC football ever since I was a little kid, and I'm 62 now, and I don't remember anybody being this way. And
because they're throwing the ball down the field a lot.
Right.
It's not just
it's not short passes.
They do some short passes and screens and things, but they're throwing it down the field too, quite a bit. And you 11 of 13 on underneath stuff is kind of the norm nowadays, but he's doing it, throwing it 60 yards down the field.
The game against Arkansas the other day, it was toward the end of the first half, and Alabama got the ball back, and I think it was like 1 minute and 49 seconds left, and one of the commentators says, well, this gives Alabama a chance for Tua to work on his 2-minute drill. Wrong. One play, touchdown, 60 yards, Boom, it's over.
Well, guess where Hugh Freeze is going?
Ooh, I'd like to know that.
Hugh Freeze is going to be with the Arizona Hotshots of the new AAF.
Oh.
Seems that recognizable names from all across the college football coaching community. And I have to give credit to CBSSports.com because this is where I pick up a lot of my information. Pulling together as a coaching staff for the new Alliance of American Football League set to launch in early 2019 continue to form. Seems that Rick Neuheisel was already named to head coach one of the league's 8 teams, the Arizona Hotshots. Now, I'm sorry, they could have done much better than that. But Arizona Hotshots, and this week he announced his staff, which includes former Ole Miss coach Hugh Freeze and longtime Oregon defensive coordinator Nick Aliati. So, there you go. Hugh Freeze is going to the AAF.
AAF.
It is interesting. Hot shot. That's Walsh killer. Isn't it?
It wasn't back in the old days. Yeah, come in a green bottle.
Yep.
They just don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah, there you go. That's right.
Maybe they got the San Francisco Waspies or bees. Then they'll have the hot shots.
Oh, Lord.
New York roaches.
That's
Yeah, they should have
Sewer rats.
sewer rats. Oh,
Should have just said what they meant. The Arizona Walsh killers.
there you go. There you go. But now, Hot Shot gets a good good money off of that.
Yep, true.
But I'm sorry.
They'll be playing
I'm
in
sorry.
Hot Shot Stadium.
There's got to be better names than that.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
I'm not saying a word. I'm gonna let it go.
No,
Yeah, the
I'm just
Washington
no.
Swamp
I got one. I got one rolling around up here, and I just don't dare use it. Nope.
Along football lines again, kudos to Drew Brees for setting a new
Yes.
passing record for yardage. By
Did you
quarterback.
see? Did you see
I saw the commercial.
The commercial
that Peyton shot where he's slicing tomatoes. He said, "Here I am, slicing away." And somebody said, "Drew Brees just set a new passing record." He said, "Which
Oh,
one?"
great!
He's all great. Which one? They said, "Yardage." And
Yes,
then he went on.
But rest assured, Peyton doesn't need the money nor the
it was
recognition.
classic the way
It was.
he
It was
finished
classy
it
the way he
all
did it.
off.
I
Yeah,
loved it.
just-
It was really, really good.
yeah.
All right, let's see what else. Through 6 weeks, kudos to Bruno Reagan, Mac
Yes.
Reagan's son. Vanderbilt, he's the highest grading guard in the SEC by Pro Football Focus.
Wow.
But now, though, he's moved back over to center.
Has he?
Yeah, their center got hurt against TSU, I think it was. Or maybe it's the game before that one. No, it was the game before the TSU. And he had to move over to center to finish off that game. And he's been playing center since. So. Of course, he played center last year,
Yeah.
the entire year.
He's a beast.
Wow.
Wow.
There's several times I'd watch him, and he was getting to the second level quick.
Yeah.
He'd hit first man and then take off and hit the linebacker. And on them running plays, that's what you want is somebody that can get out there in front of them. But
Well, maybe we'll see him on the NFL on Sundays, watching him play.
well, good possibility. Good possibility. And like I said, he could play a couple of positions there. He could play center or he could play guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll definitely help
You
that
know?
he can play both.
And the fact that he's a judo master
Oh,
doesn't hurt
That
either.
don't hurt anything.
Is he now?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
impressive.
he's a judo champion, and that's pushing people around and
Using their energy against
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
So,
very talented family.
So is there any karate chops involved?
No.
in it?
I haven't seen any yet. Of course, he may be so quick at it, I don't see him.
I don't think so.
But there wouldn't be karate chops in judo.
No.
Judo's mostly tosses and,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, and holds. But,
Which holding would be bad on the line.
that happens a lot, too. Matter of fact, I think, you could throw a flag for holding on the line on every play.
Oh yeah.
And And you would be right, because there's usually somebody holding on the line somewhere or another.
Something I wanted to get into, and I got into it briefly last week with Jason while he was here with his son Jace. When it comes to the young Hoth coming up through 4 years of having his father as head football coach, what is he going to face as far as I don't know the mindset between the son and the father when it comes to being on that football team?
You know, a lot of it is things, if you thought about it enough, you would come to the conclusions of, you know, the obvious stuff. First of all, you know, Jason's no doubt in this same frame of mind. As we all know, there's never anything more important than being a dad.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got that situation on your practice field. You know, you've always got it'll take some time to get used to the fact that your son's on the field and he's got to go about your business and you got to go about your business and, you know, let everything take care of itself. You know, that took a while for me to get used to that. And then very soon we had both of them on the field at the same time. So
Right.
you had that times two, you know, going on. But, you know, it's there'll be obvious things. I mean, there'll be accusations that, you know, Jace is playing because he's the coach's son. You know, I had that too. You know, to me it was kind of obvious my boys were tall and fast for their positions and did okay. But, you know, not everybody saw it that way. So, you know, that's just things you have to.
The one thing we will say about that, we had your back.
Oh, yes, you always have. But the best thing about it is you get the opportunity to spend time with your son in a intense situation, kind of. So at least at some points, and in all kind of other situations too. That's rare in today's times and the busyness of life and all that stuff. But you know, that's the thing I'm most thankful for is I got to spend 3 or 4 hours every afternoon with my sons doing what I loved and what they loved, and you know that is irreplaceable. And then of course, you know, winning's a little bit extra special when your sons are involved and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. You know, growing up, my dad was one of my assistant baseball coaches, and in Babe Ruth anyway. And he was always harder on me than he was the other players, and I think he did that because he didn't want them to think that he was showing favoritism.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, sometimes I said, Dad, back off just a little, please.
Yeah.
You of course were the head coach, and they were dealing with position coaches.
Right.
So did you just turn that over to the position coach and just deal with it like that?
Yeah, almost all the time. I mean, there were very few times where I think I said, let's get Eric to do this or Bryant to do that. I just
Well, you weren't going to get
go.
Bryant to do that anyway.
That's true. But the thing that
well, we didn't know when he was going to play possum or not.
the thing that I remember the most is watching them have like a long run or touchdown, and then 2 minutes later, it kind of, hey, that was my son that did that. You know, and then, which is always kind of unexpected because they were both better athletes than I was. So,
let me ask you this: did at any time they come up to you and say, "This position coach"? No names. I'm not throwing any names out there. This guy's an idiot. He don't know what he's talking about.
No, they never complained about a coach or any adult in the program or any teacher at school or anything like that. We just never discussed it. Now, as they grew up and got out on their own, they'd bring up little incidents of things that happened here and there. Nothing serious, though.
That at the time you really didn't need to know about.
Probably so. Probably so, no doubt.
Well, I tell you, it was a complete joy watching your two boys on the football field.
I appreciate that.
And
it certainly was a joy for me, and the other thing too is, people just got to get over the fact that it's your son out there.
Right.
If there's something way out of line, that's a different situation. But, you know, my boys made plays. They got to play. You know, and they were always going to be special to me. And people just, you know, if you're a parent, you understand that. And you just have to get over it and move on, you know. But, you know, when it comes to playing time and who makes awards and all that stuff, everybody's not always rational. You know, it's just part of the game.
Well, Chip caught it as part of being president of the gridiron. You know, the only reason your son's playing is because you're president of the gridiron.
Oh, yeah.
No, my son's playing because he's talented.
Right. Exactly.
When he came up, we only had 2 tackles.
Yeah.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, that's.
Well, it don't hurt to be the size that he was.
Well, that's true. That is true.
That's
yeah.
right.
And he was coachable.
Yep. And while people were complaining about that, Chip was over there in the concession stand working his butt off or somewhere else.
Yeah.
Putting up signs in the stadium or whatever else. So, you know, I think if I was going to do it all over, I'd have a rule that you have to work so many hours before you can complain. You know, if you
I still have that rule.
do you? That's very good.
Yeah.
I should have come
You
up
know,
with
don't come to me and complain if you have never stepped foot in this field,
That's right.
or you've hung a sign, or you haven't loaded the cooler with Coke, or you haven't gone to Sam's and bought stuff.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to hear it. I don't
Or
want to hear
haul
it.
the equipment
And
all
also,
over.
If the
Yeah,
athletic
can I-
Exactly.
principal don't want people putting stuff down in the stands on a semifinal night, you know, they need to tell me.
Right.
Well,
lock the gates.
it's just the thing is, I don't want to hear people gripe and complain if they have not done anything for the program.
Yeah, and the thing is,
And that goes with band too.
yeah.
You know, I've had
Oh,
people
yeah,
when I
any
spent 8
activity.
years with band. You know, you would hear people complain who
any
never loaded the trailer,
extracurricular
who never went to a
activity.
contest, who never went to a football game, who never did any of that stuff. But they'll stand there toe to toe, and they'll want to complain about everything. And I just walk off
Yeah, and I, you know,
after saying a couple of choices.
in
You know me.
14 years as a head coach, I don't remember a person that did all those things complaining. There might have been one somewhere, but I can't remember. The people that work hard for the program are not the ones that complain.
When Sandy and Todd Tate started the tailgating back years and years ago, I remember a lot of Friday nights, since I never had a child in the program, did have 2 kids in the band, but not in the football program. I remember countless Friday nights where I'd let them go to the tailgate, and I'm standing up there cooking hamburgers and hot dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and that was fine. I had no problem with that because these parents needed to be with their kids when they walked the Lion Walk, and when they you know walk through with the band playing and all that. I mean, that's the special time for them.
Yep.
Not for me. I'm just there to help.
But you look back, Roger Eisen,
Yeah,
perfect example. Showed
that's
up
who we were
every
thinking of the
Friday,
other night.
That was
helped
it.
me set up. We had everything going.
Yeah.
Set everything up. As a matter of fact, yesterday was Lucy's 10th birthday. That was Will's. We had a home game, a TV game,
Oh God.
and I ran to Murfreesboro while she was born. And back, but Roger had everything under control.
Oh, yeah.
And then they did the chains for several years.
But Roger, we talked about this on our way down to Winchester last Friday night. Roger was the one who got highway patrolled just outside of Fayetteville, and he was right behind me. I'm so lucky that I was not the one who got nailed.
I mean, we were the one leading the pack.
Exactly.
But
I was
he's
the
the
one
one that got
blowing up
pulled
through at
over.
65 miles an hour on a 45, and he's the one who gets pulled over.
Yeah. And that's a good point. Roger did the change for up until this year,
Yeah.
going back probably to about 07, something like that. 06 maybe is when he started.
They started.
No, he started in 5.
No,
Was it
they
fun?
You sure?
They were. It was about 06 because
Oh, okay.
it was when his son moved up. To
That's true
varsity.
because I started in 05.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And this is my
probably
14th
07
season.
Well,
because he was behind Will.
right.
So it was probably 07.
Yep.
But they, I mean, that was somebody who never.
Oh, and I would like to make a public announcement at this particular point in time. When I get ready to give up the PA system, I'll let you know. I'm tired of people asking me when I'm going to leave. I'm not leaving anytime soon.
Very good.
There's got to be certain things that fall into place for me to not do it anymore. So don't keep asking me. Is this your last year? I'm going to tell you. When I'm ready to come to the house, I'll come to the house. So just shut up.
He'll announce it on the last game that he does announce.
You got that right.
And
and Eddie's going to sit there and say, thank
It's about
God.
time.
and another bunch that was really helped us out was Doc Adams
Yes.
and Tina.
Yes.
They would run the concession stand for freshmen and JV games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They'd go down there,
yeah,
remember?
sure did,
They'd go
yeah,
down and open,
Yep.
open up the concession
Yep.
during those games. And, and of course, Doc's on the sidelines,
Yeah.
and he was the best at yelling at officials
Oh yes.
and getting
Hey,
somebody
but
else
I-
blamed for it.
Yeah.
But I would like to send a shout out to Don Edelman and all the guys and girls at ROTC
Yep.
at Columbia Central. They're doing an excellent job with the concession stand
Sure
this year.
are. Yeah, sure are.
And my hat's off to those guys because they send out a mass text or a mass we need you, and everybody shows up and they do their
And
thing.
then they also do the cleanup after the game
Yeah,
as well.
they do.
So
So thanks to all
Great program.
those cadets who
yeah,
come
yes,
up to
yes.
the press box, and I've already got things loaded up for them to take away. So
Yeah.
that's good stuff. We have a good time. Friday night, tomorrow night, Shelbyville comes to town. Game time, 7 o'clock. I think they're going to do chili at the Lion Walk,
Yep. That's the
like
plan.
5:30.
yes
or so.
5:30, and then the
And-
walkthrough I think's 5:45,
Yeah.
something like that. So that should be a fun night.
It will be a fun night. Going to miss my old friend Rusty Reed, bless his heart.
Yeah.
His cohort, Porter Hardison, called me today or sent me a text today wanting to make sure he had a place in the press box.
Mhm.
I said, yeah, you do.
So Porter Hardison took his place.
He did. Porter was doing his color for him,
Oh, okay.
and he decided he was going to take over when Rusty passed. Then he said, I'm going to pick up the torch and go and do the rest of the games this year.
Oh, well,
So Porter's doing that for him. So
good deal.
Well, Rusty was a class act.
yeah, he was.
He
He was
sure
always a
was.
class act. He got me to do the Shelbyville Columbia Lions basketball last year. I said, dude, I'm wearing my colors. He said, I don't care. I just need your voice. I said, okay, all right. I can do that. Not a problem. Hey, Meriwether Lewis Arts and Crafts Fair is coming up Saturday and Sunday at the Riverwalk Park. All the portable toilets are already out there, so I'm just saying. That's where I walk my dog, so I'm just saying that they're already out there. They moved it from Meriwether Lewis Park
back to Columbia.
because the National Park Service decided to up their rent for the weekend about $25,000.
What's that
Oh,
doing
my
to the
gosh.
yard sales?
I don't care.
Oh,
I'm
you
not
talking about all
promoting.
the Highway 20 yard
Yeah.
sales.
Yeah, the Highway 20 yards.
That's a
thing.
big deal.
Yeah. Well, they can still have their yard sales.
Didn't
they
Ricky
just won't
Skaggs
the
have
crowd.
Highway 20 Blues or something like that?
I don't know, but that's
No.
a winding old road.
But
And here's something else, a reminder before we get back into sports at the half hour right here. The Vintage Radio Today players, of which I am a part. Gee, I play the part of the announcer in most of all these things.
How
Go
about
figure. Subsidiary of Building Block School of Performing Arts will be at NHC Columbia. We're taking our act on the road. That'll be on October 28th at 6 o'clock. We will be performing live. And we're performing H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. Just in time for Halloween. And it'll be live on YouTube, kind of like we are right now.
Do
you
you?
get your sound effects, man?
Oh, we've got Sherry Johnson, who is the proprietor of the School of Performing Arts, Building Blocks, is going to be doing either A, a live Foley cart, which is the sound effects card,
Uh-huh.
or B, all the sound effects will be on computer, should be running it through the sound system. So,
Do you use your radio voice when you're doing the announcing?
yes, I do. Thank you very much. No, I really did not, Chip, have a radio voice when I was in radio. You know that I didn't because you spent many an hour early morning at the radio station.
But you can use a radio voice.
Yes,
when
I
you need
can
to.
use the radio voice when it's necessary. Thank you.
Are you going to do it like the original broadcast?
Yes.
Where everybody thought that
Yes.
it was the actual
Yeah,
invasion
we are.
of
Except you'll get to
Martians or
see
whatever?
these live actors,
Uh-huh.
some of which are pretty, some of which are not.
That's all.
And that's the reason I stay off camera.
Very
You know, much like here.
Well, I know which category I'd fall in. But I'm not one of the actors.
But yeah, we're going to use the original script for War of the Worlds, and that'll be fun.
I don't play ugly. I am ugly.
Because you know when they did the original one.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of people that committed
Even
suicide.
though, hang on a second, you guys bear with me a minute. I have the script right here, and on several of the announcements, it says,
Yeah,
this is a fictitious,
yeah.
you know.
But people don't want to listen to that part.
Yeah, it says the Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the air in War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. So they give that right at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, some people don't tune in until a minute later.
Right.
So then they go through the whole thing, and then, but there's several places inside the script where it says this is an adaptation of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. But people just got freaky. They just went crazy.
Yep.
They went nuts. So anyway, there it is. But that'll be fun. That's coming up on October 28th.
It will be fun.
Yeah. So we'll invite everybody to tune in to YouTube and the Building Block School of Performing Arts under Vintage Radio today. We've been doing that every month since, I think, back last April.
Okay.
It's been a lot of fun doing that. Georgia. Having a lot of problems with Michael coming through yesterday. Our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody on the
Florida
on the coast.
Panhandle all
man.
the way through.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's nothing left down there.
No.
Not really.
Now, Mexico Beach took a direct hit.
Yep.
Like we were talking off the air earlier, there was a freight train that for about a half a mile, every one of the freight cars was laying on their side.
That's a lot of wind.
You know,
Yeah, it is.
and you look where houses and commercial buildings and some small hotels and stuff like that used to be. It just looks like a third world country right now.
It does.
Bombs dropped.
Well, it looks like Haiti.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Puerto Rico.
Oh, Puerto Rico, I'm sorry. Georgia does have plans of defending the SEC championship crown and returning to the college football playoff for another shot at the national championship. On the field, the Bulldogs so far have looked the part, passing every test and winning in an impressive manner during their 6-0 start. But the number 2 team in the country is about to face its toughest stretch of the season starting on Saturday at LSU in the SEC on the CBS Game of the Week. What do you think, Coach?
I would favor Georgia, but I don't think it's going to be an easy game by any means whatsoever. But last week kind of shook things up a little bit.
Yeah, it
you know,
did.
everybody kind of thought they had the West pegged and that everybody was strong, and then Auburn gets upset by Mississippi State.
LSU and Florida.
LSU and Florida game was a bit of a surprise there, and then Kentucky and
Texas A&M.
A&M, which
But, you know, on that one, though, they're playing at A&M. And
They took Snell out of the game.
Yeah.
It just,
really, I didn't know that. And
well, I mean, they shut him down.
they shut him down. They kept,
Me?
you know, he wasn't going to beat them.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and Kentucky had their chances. You know, it's just one of them things, you know.
Even if Georgia gets in and out of Baton Rouge with a win, There are 3 huge tests that follow. They're likely to determine where the Bulldogs stand in the SEC East and the race for a spot in the college football playoff. Georgia has an off week, then faces Florida in Jacksonville. Travels to Kentucky to take on the upstart Wildcats. And then finally return to play in Sanford Stadium for the first time in more than a month when it hosts Auburn. In Deep South, oldest rivalry on November 10th.
That is a tough schedule.
Yeah.
I think even going to Kentucky will be a tough place.
Is Kentucky the real deal?
I think so. I think they're a top 25 team.
Oh, did I hear correctly? Did Oklahoma part ways with their defensive coordinator,
Yes,
Stoops?
Mike Stoops, yep.
Wow.
Did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, maybe Mark will hire him as a consultant or whatever they call him.
Yep, sure could. You got to think that would be a possibility.
And Jackson Harris caught a ball in the Vanderbilt game.
Oh,
He sure did. Sure did.
Great.
So he's back.
So
Wonderful. Good for him.
So,
It's always tough
yeah,
to
it
see.
was for a first down too. So
It's tough to see them get hurt in their senior year. So that's great. Jackson's able to get back out there and contribute.
But he's been on special teams, hasn't he? For most of his playing time?
for most of his playing time, yes, it's been special teams. But he has.
That's good to see.
He has played in the past. Quite a bit on offense. Sometimes they put him in a two tight end situation and put him on one end of the line.
They've been rolling 4 tight ends,
right?
usually.
So they're heavy at tight end this year.
The whole time he's been
yeah.
down there, they've been.
I mean, matter of fact, the guy that was number 1 last year, Nada, he's like their third, probably second or third tight end on their depth list now. So,
Florida State's latest offer for the class of 2019 has a very familiar last name and a strong tie to the program. On Tuesday evening, Shiloh Sanders, the son of Seminoles great Deion Sanders, announced that he's received a scholarship offer from Florida State.
mm-hmm.
Shiloh said to ESPN, "To me, it's extremely a blessing to have the same opportunity my father had and to potentially have the opportunity to carry on his legacy." Sanders is a 3-star cornerback prospect from Trinity Christian School in Cedar Hill, Texas. He already has major offers from Georgia, Oregon, and South Carolina. Deion Sanders, of course, was an All-American corner at Florida State in the 1980s, where he won the Jim Thorpe Award in 1988. Sanders, number 2, is also retired by the program. Primetime also had a Hall of Fame career in the NFL, where he was a 2-time Super Bowl champion, an 8-time Pro Bowl selection, and the largest league's Defensive Player of the Year in 1994, and probably one of the biggest mouths in the NFL. Just saying.
And Major League Baseball.
Yeah, Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
But they don't. But that career wasn't as great as his NFL career.
I agree. I think a lot of the talk was marketing. I think he knew he was a defensive back. He wasn't going to get a lot of publicity, so he went out and made it.
Kind of like Ramsey does now.
And that's what I was going to say. I think that still continues now.
There was a guy back several years ago. This goes way back. He was a professional baseball player. He played a few games in the NBA, and he was also a professional football player. But his knee injuries wiped him out of all of his playing time, and he wound up being an actor. Chuck Connors.
Oh, yeah.
The Rifleman.
The rifleman.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
First
dun,
defensive
dun.
back that I ever remember really running his mouth was Fred Williamson with the Kansas City Chiefs, whose nickname was the Hammer.
Yep.
And he got hammered in the Super Bowl. And they have all these clips of the Packers walking over there snickering, going, "Hey, the hammer's down." And they had to cart him off because he got knocked out.
I remember years ago on the Tonight Show, Johnny Carson had Big Ben Davidson on as a guest, and they were showing a clip, and it just happened to be a clip of the Raiders playing the Chiefs, and they're lining up, the quarterback, just calling out the snap count and all that stuff, and all of a sudden, Ben Davidson just took his big right arm and just swung it and hit the back of the head of the guy across the line from him, just drove him plumb down into the ground. Of course, they threw a flag and called offsides and all that, and of course, both benches cleared. They had a big brawl, and Johnny says, "Ben, why'd you do that?" Everybody knew we was going to win the game. I was just trying to give them something exciting to watch.
Oh, me.
Associated Press Top 25 and the coaches poll are basically the same. There really is not that much difference. Alabama number 1, Georgia number 2, Ohio State number 3, Clemson number 4, Notre Dame number 5, West Virginia 6, Washington 7, Penn State 8, Texas 9, and UCF is 10. And Auburn is all the way down to 21. So
yeah, they've lost back-to-back games. So
LSU is 13, Florida 14 in the game playing behind us, Michigan game.
Yeah.
Michigan is 12. And you're going to be a sad man if Alabama ever falls out of number 1.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's become the norm. Let's look at most overrated programs in recent years.
All right.
This will make some people mad. I think number 5 is one of those, Notre Dame. I mean, think about the last time they won a significant game was probably 88 when they won a national championship.
Yeah.
It's at least been a long time. USC.
Yeah.
When's the last time they won a significant game?
You get my list back out of the garbage.
There you go. There you go. UCLA, who is now 0-5, I believe.
Yeah, they ain't worth a crap this year.
But for years, they've also been
Nebraska
overrated.
is overrated this year.
Yeah. That's, this year. But the Notre Dame, USC, UCLA have been continuously overrated for 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
At least in the first half of the season. And you can this will really upset some people. Michigan's not too far.
Oh,
too far from
I'm with you on that one, Coach.
Although
the Hope brothers would be screaming mad.
But that's okay. But if you take strength of schedule, they're not playing.
No, they're not.
They're not playing the upper tier of what you would expect to be a number 12 team.
Right.
I mean, you've got Cincinnati at 25. Who? And you've got Mississippi State 24, South Florida at 23, Texas A&M at 22, Auburn at 21, North Carolina State at 20, Colorado is at 19, Kentucky's at 18, and then Oregon at 17, Miami of Florida at 16, and Wisconsin is 15. So,
yeah, and that was Kentucky's first loss Saturday, and they're all the way down to 18. I mean, that don't make sense.
No.
With you bringing it out about that, there was a running joke for a while, because Notre Dame played all the service academies, and if they were trying to compete for the Commander-in-Chief trophy.
Good point.
So,
well, nobody wants the Commander-in-Chief trophy now.
Oh.
No. No, if it was a different Commander-in-Chief, maybe, but no.
Well, another
They'll say, we'll take the Commander and Chef trophy.
He'll be wanting to put his face on it. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
Another program that
call it the
might
Trump trophy.
just emerged from that group is Texas. Texas had not won a significant game in 20, 25 years. Maybe they did Saturday.
Yeah, they did
depending
Saturday.
on how the rest of their season goes.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
I think
Oklahoma struggled a couple of times
Yeah,
this
they
year.
have. They have.
And had to come back and win a couple of those games. But,
Yeah.
And the Browns won again with
Yeah.
Sure did. And then-
Baker
did.
Mayfield.
But what they're saying is that team.
They've won twice as many games.
But
as
what
they had
they're
last
saying
year.
about Baker Mayfield, it's not that he is that great a quarterback, but the team is rising to his expectations, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, one guy can't come in and just and do it.
Well, I mean, he has talent. I mean,
Sure.
I'll give him.
Oh,
that.
I'm not taking away
You
from
know.
that.
No, if you just got somebody playing quarterback who leads, takes care of the ball, does things that you need,
And expects
Them to do
things
it.
out of his team members.
right, and they enjoy playing
Yeah.
with him and helping him.
Well, let's talk a little baseball.
All right.
Here's what we got. American League Championship Series coming up Saturday will be Houston at Boston. And then Sunday will be Houston at Boston. That's on TBS. Tuesday will be Boston at Houston. And Wednesday, Boston at Houston. Thursday, Boston at Houston, blah, 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 in case you need it, and so on and so forth. Then you're going to have L.A. Dodgers at Milwaukee. That'll be on Saturday, October 12th. And they're just kind of staggering these things so that, everybody gets a chance to cover every single game on the planet. And World Series will start on October 23rd. Game one will be, I'll take that back. Hang on a second. Yeah, game one will be either Boston, Houston, or Los Angeles, Milwaukee. Either one. So there you go.
Well, who you pulling for?
I'm not pulling for anyone. I would have pulled for the Braves.
Yeah, but they didn't make it.
But they didn't make it. I would have pulled for the Cubs.
They didn't make it either.
Well,
Milwaukee put no, it wasn't them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Milwaukee?
Yeah,
put them in?
Brewers put the smack down on the
Cubs.
Cubs.
Yeah.
And speaking of SmackDown, apparently in a game Wednesday night in New York, a Yankee game,
Oh yeah.
a beer got poured on some fan, a Yankee fan, poured it on the West Coast team guys. They'd already won the game, but they got the guy so upset that he pours the beer on this guy from the West Coast who's originally from New York. So the Yankees have reached out and they've offered a little,
token to him?
Thank you. Yeah, a little token of, we're sorry that jerk did that, but he's not going to be allowed back in Yankee Stadium anymore.
I mean, with all the cameras that are out there
Come
today,
on.
if you're gonna do something stupid,
And for what you have to pay for a seat at Yankee Stadium,
what are you talking about?
Oh, great
And that's
movie,
just for a
movie.
regular season game.
we
Yeah.
thought about going down there when we were up there for
Are you serious?
in New York for a week, and like the cheapest ticket was like $80 or
Oh,
something like
gosh.
that.
Yeah, and that's in the nosebleed
Yeah.
section.
Up where we were
Yeah,
in Atlanta.
in Atlanta. Oh yeah, 2 rows from the rail. Yeah.
Oh,
we were
here's
2 rows
something.
from the rail, top rail.
Here's something, Coach, for you. It's golfing. Now we must say that when you went to Cancun, there was no golfing between you and TJ.
That's right.
Because that particular resort, the ladies fixed it to where there would be no. I'm just saying this. I'm saying it because he can't. The ladies fixed it to where there was no golfing for you guys to go out and spend your time doing
Did
that.
you even take the clubs?
No,
All right. So we knew there was going to be no golf.
that's right.
The only people on the course for the Tiger Woods versus Phil Mickelson $9 million match over Thanksgiving will apparently be Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson. According to a report by the Las Vegas Review-Journal, no tickets will be sold to this big money-making event. That doesn't technically mean that Woods and Mickelson will be alone, as camera crews and sponsors will certainly be in attendance, but it will provide a strange backdrop for the two of the best to ever play. According to the Review-Journal, multiple sources who are familiar with the planning said a small gathering of sponsors and VIPs will be given access to Shadow Creek, which is owned by MGM Resorts International. The event is believed to be the first televised pay-per-view golf event. Broadcast rights are held by Warner Media. Also, no parts of the match will be played under the lights, as was under speculation following Mickelson's comments about the event being held in prime time.
Well, that's interesting that they're not going to sell any tickets.
Now, what I want to know is, digging deep into your background as a golfer and TJ as a golfer, how much money's ever been exchanged between you two?
Well,
I'm sure there's been a friendly wager or two.
No, there hasn't been.
Really?
Now,
A beer? Or
TJ probably. I can't speak for him. For me, my game's so inconsistent. I'm not putting money on that. It's not gonna happen.
So there's no sure thing there.
No, not
okay.
at all. A sure thing that it'll be inconsistent. That's what's the sure thing.
the only way I play decent is if I'm a member of a scramble team. You know?
Best ball.
Best ball, right?
Here are the golf rankings, though. Dustin Johnson is the number one golfer with 10.191 average points. World Money List. This is something. Brant Snedeker from Nashville, $563,200.
Wow.
He's made so far.
Wow.
For the new season.
Yeah. Kevin Tway. Suddenly I feel like I have a lisp. Kevin Tway is at $1,152,000 for the year so far.
Snedeker played a little better. He'd had the $1 million.
And FedEx Cup points, Brant Snedeker at 245. He's tied for second.
And they had the big Riders Cup a couple of weeks ago to end the season, and the U.S. did not do well.
They haven't
Europe
done
took
well
that.
in a while.
Yeah, that's true.
In the Riders Cup.
That's true.
But I think a lot of people get confused with that simply because you've got all of these players who are playing in the United States throughout the year.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the Ryder Cup, those players are no longer playing or playing in the United States. I think a lot of people get a little confused by that.
It can be confusing. Then the format's a little confusing. I'm probably not a big Ryder Cup fan like some are.
It's kind of like you're talking about players playing differently, you know, like Olympics. I mean, in the sports to where we use professional athletes, some of the basketball players that are playing in the NBA, of course, they're from foreign countries, so they go back and they play for, you know, their country of origin. So you know, it's
Same thing with hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that's true.
if they did that, most of them be over in Russia or Norway.
We've only got a couple of minutes to go. We need to bring up Tennessee Titans simply because, Coach, what is the problem with Derrick Henry that he's not getting? Is he not getting the routes? Is he not getting the blocking? It seems like he's very hard on himself right now. Should he just forget that and just play?
Offensive line sucks.
Well, Jack Conklin's been out. He's finally coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the line was out. I mean, they patched together a line.
Yeah. I mean, the holes aren't there. I mean, that's it in a nutshell.
And I think he's the top back that needs a little bit of space. He can do a lot of damage with a little bit of space, but without much, he's so tall. He's so appears to be so heavy upper body,
right?
That I think it affects his balance a little bit.
Well, and plus too, see, since the hole is not there, he's been trying to have it bounce it to the outside, and that's never been his running style. Yeah. And you know, and also he needs more carries. I mean, he's type back at the more carries he gets, the better he's going to get. I mean, you know, more effective he's going to be in the game because just his sheer pounding into you, you know, play after play after play.
Now, I will say this about John Robinson with the Titans organization. You drop a ball in the end zone that's in your hands, you ain't sticking around that organization very long.
Yep.
He put him on waivers like that.
Yeah. Well, he should have been.
Yeah.
Man wide open and he drops the dang ball.
And he also on the interception didn't even attempt to to break up.
Yeah.
He just watched it.
Mariota hit him in the wrong place.
The hands.
In the hands. Sad. Coach, good to have you back.
Oh, thank you. Good to be back.
I smell pizza. I smell Truelove's pizza. Pizza lady's taking care of that.
Mention, as you already did, ball game tomorrow night against Shelbyville football. Cross country goes to Dixon Saturday for a meet.
You going over there?
No. Too long of a drive, too early. They leave out early in the morning. But bowling started this week.
Good.
Girls soccer is playing at Coffee County tonight in the district tournament.
Yeah. Now, if they win tonight, do they come back to play at Lindsay?
I'm not sure. I've
Okay.
got to find that out. I don't do that particular sport, so I'm not connected to what information they have.
You want to give a shout out to your brother?
Yeah, my brother in New Jersey, Tom, and his wife Frankie, and my cousins and all those folks. I don't have cousins up there. I've got a niece.
Niece. You're getting old, Dan.
Yeah, I know, Eddie. It's slowly sneaking up on me. There are those days. For everybody on the show, have a nice evening, everybody. We're out of here.